Hello and welcome to our Christmas cookie tutorial. My name is Ashley and I will be guiding you through the decorating process today, but first I want to say thank you so much for supporting Hearty Coffee. As you're watching this video, feel free to pause as needed and don't feel obligated to follow along exactly. We encourage you to get creative and have fun. The first thing we're going to do is set out all of the materials and prep our icings. It's normal for the color to separate from the icing, so we need to work the color back in by massaging the bags. Once you've done this with each icing, go through and cut a very tiny amount off the tips of the bags. A few millimeters is all you need. Start smaller, and if your line is too thin, go back and cut a couple more millimeters off. The goal is for the icing to flow out easily in a thin line with minimal pressure. Now that your icings are ready, we can start decorating. I'm going to start with the mitten. And the first thing you'll do is just outline the shape using light pressure. Once the outline is done, fill it in using more pressure between the palm of your hand and fingers. This part is called flooding. Once the shape is all filled in, give your cookie a few taps to help settle the icing and dissolve any lines. If there are still some gaps, you can use a toothpick to fill it in and straighten out the edges. Repeat this process for the other two mittens and set them aside to dry before adding details. Moving on to the Santa cookie, we'll do the same steps that we did for the mitten and outline the cookie and flood it. The only difference is we'll leave a little gap at the top of the hat for where the hat would hang over. Again, repeat this process for the other Santa hats, and then we'll set them aside to dry before adding more detail. For the Christmas tree, we'll start with outlining and flooding the green, and then we'll go back and add the trunk and the light once it's dry. Now that the Santa hat has set a little bit, we can go back and add in the gap that we left before. Going back to the mitten cookie, we can add designs, but first we'll fill in the bottom of the mitten with the white icing. You can just do little dollops of white to make it look fluffy and soft, like a little lamb. You can leave it plain or you can add something fun. I'm going to add lines that make it look like yarn. The most important thing is that your cookies have had time to dry before adding the next layer. Typically, you just want to look for the finish to be matte instead of shiny. We'll do the same thing at the bottom of the Santa hat that we did for the mitten with the white dollops. And then you can also add the white ball on the top of the hat. Now that the tree is dry, we can add the trunk, and then we can add the string of lights. Just zigzag the white back and forth, and then while the white is still wet, you'll add the sprinkles so they stick. Now to the gingerbread man cookie. We can outline and flood it like we did the other shapes. The reason that I left this for the last is because it doesn't need any dry time in between. We're going to add the face and the buttons and the designs on while the brown is still wet. This is called a wet on wet technique, and it allows the colors to settle together as one layer. And that wraps up today's tutorial. I hope you had fun decorating, and hopefully you learned something new in the process. We'd love to see your artistry from today, so tag us on social media at Hearty Coffee. Thank you for watching. We hope you had fun, and a Merry Christmas to you.